Please welcome from Entertainment Weekly, Clarissa Cruz, your special guest moderator.
Hello. Hi, welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Bold School. I'm Clarissa Cruz, Executive Editor at Entertainment Weekly, and I am so excited to introduce our panel today, a group of fierce, fearless women, and they're going to tell us about all the lessons they've learned. First, we have Emily Hampshire, best known for her role as Stevie Budd in Schitt's Creek. Emily will next be seen in the upcoming Amazon drama series, The Rig, and now she can add author to her credits. She has a graphic novel, Amelia Earwood, Basic Witch, coming out this fall. Next is Dulcé Sloan. Dulcé voices the character of Honeybee on the Fox animated comedy, The Great North, which launched its third season this fall. She has also been a correspondent on The Daily Show with Trevor Noah since 2017. Next, Katja Herbers from Evil. Katja can currently be seen in season 3 of Paramount Plus's Evil as psychologist Kristen Bouchard. Her other notable television roles include appearances on Westworld, The Leftovers, and The Americans.
Thank you.
And lastly, Shantel VanSanten. Shantel currently stars as Karen Baldwin in the Apple TV Plus drama series For All Mankind, which recently returned for season 3 and has just been renewed for season 4. She can also be seen in the CBS series FBI and had a pivotal role in The Boys. Yes. Give a warm welcome to our panel.
Can I get a hot dog?
So, Bold School, we like to learn about the lessons you've learned. You know, in your careers in Hollywood, everyone had different paths, everyone had different journeys. But what is the best, I guess, sort of advice that you've received as far as your careers?
I got, like, the best advice I ever got is dare to fail, which just as an actor is nice because it makes you able to do, like, make bolder choices when you're rehearsing, for instance, like dare to rehearse in a way that is definitely not good. And then you kind of find a way that you might not have gotten to had you tried to do your best. I think, like, trying to do your best in life often doesn't actually give you the best. So I'm a big advocate of failing and rehearsing in a way that just makes people cringe and then finding something interesting.
You know, it's interesting. I was doing, like, my very first series on television when I was 23, and I had a producer come up to me, and it was like 13 episodes in, and he said, "You don't have to try so hard."
There you go.
And it was interesting because I thought, well, yes, I do. I need to keep studying. I need to fight. I need to prove myself. I need to, need to. And instead, he's like, trust that it's there, and just show up like you're enough. In that sense of course, it's important to constantly study and be learning and, working on your craft, but also let go a little and just trust yourself. So it's interesting because it's kind of the same.
I think the best thing that I learned was, because the main thing is, like, the world knows me more as a stand-up comic and being on The Daily Show, but I have been acting since I was a child. I have a theater degree, and thank you. So I've been performing for a very long time. And one of the things, my theater professor was a useless man, but and I'm the bane of his existence because he can't take any credit for my success. But It's fine. His wife's unhappy. But, sorry, ex-wife. That's not the point. What I'm saying is, the man only told me two good things. One is that people are caught up in the things that they want. And especially as an actor or a performer or creative, we are pimped emotionally on a regular basis. Because you're made to feel like if you can't achieve the things that you want to achieve, you're not doing what you need to be doing as a person. Because we are told that we have to work for free so often to prove ourselves to be able to get paid, where you're paying me an experience and, you know, opportunity, which has been bullshit from day one. Because degrees cost money. Not mine, I got a full ride, but that's not the point. It's people use your dreams against you. So when you don't get something, people will say to you, well, isn't that a lot of rejection? But if you get out of accounting school and apply to a bunch of places to become an accountant and don't get it, no one says that to you. Because no one's pimping your dreams if you're not in a creative place. So when you don't get something, it's not meant for you. And the second you take your mind and just flip it and go, I wanted this thing, and I tried hard, and I auditioned, or I submitted and I didn't get it, instead of beating yourself up and trying to figure out, did I not put in the work, did I not do the thing, that wasn't your job. That's it. Just work on the next job, that's all. The way you can free yourself up and just acknowledging whoever you believe in, God, the universe, cheese, I don't know you. What I'm saying is, whatever is meant for you, you'll have. So anytime, even there's people here that are trying to put out their first comic books or put out a character or something, and people are not wanting to work with you, or fuck them people. You ain't supposed to work with them people. So yeah, it's just, if you don't get something, you weren't supposed to have it. And that's it. It doesn't mean that you're not good at what you do. Because I've seen plenty of people get things that they should not have received. So what you're supposed to have is for you. So don't think about what you didn't get. Just look at what you want.
I think that's really interesting because the biggest lesson I think I've received is the lesson of the journey of Schitt's Creek, that nobody wanted it. Dan, the creator, went to sell it everywhere in America, and nobody wanted Schitt's Creek because they wanted Breaking Bad or The Wire, the things that were doing well then. And now I've been going out to pitch my own show and stuff, and everybody wants the next Schitt's Creek. And I can guarantee that the next big thing is not going to be the next Schitt's Creek. It's going to be the thing no one's thought of yet. And that thing that no one's thought of yet is what you do that maybe people don't want right now, but do it, and then people will want it. So.
Love that, love that. Speaking of, as Dulcé put it, useless men, what would you say is sort of the worst, not that men are the only ones who can do this, but what is the worst piece of advice that you've received, and how did you find a way to pivot away from it and get back on track?
The worst advice I got is somebody told me I would have to lose weight to be successful in this business. And thank you so much. But what's crazy is that to this day, if I was a white woman, I would have to lose weight to be successful in this business. But because society allows me to have my body, that's why Lizzo's so popular. Because people accept the fact that black women have different shapes, but they still terrorize certain groups of women. So you still have to go. The worst thing is you have to change who you are to be successful in what you want to do. And you always have to be able to, because that is what That's the little thing that kills you. That's the little thing that's just like, but I can't. These are my titties. What am I supposed to do? I bring them to you every episode. Like, what are you talking about? So I think that was the worst advice I ever got. It was just like, you have to be, it was the same thing, like people wanting the same, like they want the next Schitt's Creek. You want me to be, look at Oprah. Oprah's probably lost and gained literally 1,000 pounds. Because every couple years she had to lose weight and she'd gain it, and they terrorized Oprah for 30 years. And now she's a billionaire. So the bitch won.
I was told when I was a younger actor, that I either had to gain weight or lose weight, but that just being like in the middle and not like thin, but if I wanted to be bigger, my agent would still represent me because then I could be funny. That was the thing, which the world's changed in a good way. I don't think that happens anymore.
because if you were skinny, you couldn't be funny.
Yeah, no.
And if you were pretty, you couldn't be funny. Because when I first started, they were like, well, you're really pretty, so you probably shouldn't want to wear like makeup or when you're on stage or wear heels or anything like that. And I was like, it's not my fault other people are ugly. I don't know what. This is the face my mother gave me. I don't know what I'm supposed to. That's not my ministry. That's not my problem. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that brings up an interesting point because talking about how the industry has evolved, particularly with body image, has it changed since you first started in the industry? Has it gotten better? Is it something that still needs work?
Well, for me, it was funny. I'm originally from Holland, the Netherlands, Amsterdam. And
all them places at once?
no, well, sometimes people are like, Holland, oh, I love Denmark, but it's a different place, okay? So I'm from Amsterdam, which is the Netherlands. It's all confusion. And I speak Dutch, and that sounds
Maybe this is y'all, not us. Maybe.
I agree.
So Holland, Dutch. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
No,
I'm really trying to understand where
you
you're from.
can totally interrupt me.
So confused.
What I was going to say, like, I only got out here after having a career back home. In Germany. And then when I got to America, I was like, holy shit, I'm different to a man. We have less sexism, like we have sexism back home, but not as much. And I was like, wait a second, here women have an expiration date? What the fuck is that about? And that really threw me. And like the amount, I've taken a couple of screenshots. I have a folder in my phone of screenshots of like bullshit things that women have to act in this business sometimes. And like my favorite one was for a character who undresses in front of the mirror, checks herself out, as we all do, right, girls? And looks at herself, and then it said she's 28, but boy, does she look young now, or do her titties look young now? And I was like, wait a second, she's 28, and we're saying, but boy, does she look young? What the fuck is happening? And like the disparity between, is that the right word?
Yes.
Yeah, between like when you see a man, like the amount of parts I go out for where the man is like 65 and I'm supposed to be like, I'm so hot for him. Oh, I can't wait to be alone with him. And I'm like, this is not normal. This is not okay. And so I turn that down. And then, yeah, I hope for something better. And I think, often when there's a project that only has men on board, men in the producing team, male writers, male director, it's gonna be shit, okay? So we need more women, and then things are just gonna be better everywhere.
I mean, I remember starting off, and I feel like I'm so old. I'm like, I remember when gas was 49 cents. That's how I feel. Now it's $7.
That was only 1997. You're fine.
But I remember like some of my first films or TV shows. It was all men. Yes, on One Tree Hill. There was the only women in certain roles were like wardrobe or makeup.
Yes.
And that's wonderful. But now I can say I'm on a show on Apple TV, and we have an executive producer, Meryl. And Meryl champions, and by the way, so do Matt and Ben and Ron, for a show that is 85% about women, and about women stepping into a space where they should belong and where they do belong. And we take an alternate history and we get to watch these women have leadership roles, and we get to watch the first woman president, and we get to watch the first African-American woman astronaut step foot on Mars. And there's just spaces where I hope that it inspires, because while I've seen progress, for sure, as an actress working with certain people, I also still see spaces where voices are silenced or stifled, or we don't feel that we're worthy to step in those spaces, or we don't feel like, is this okay? Am I allowed? Is it, yeah? Okay, I'm sorry. I just wanted to say something. And so to have people lately who I've worked with, and I keep thinking like, maybe it's because I'm older that I finally feel like I can have a voice, or it's the project, but I feel grateful that I've seen progress. I've worked with the people a producer who made me get on a scale, and at 5'8", if I wasn't 115 pounds when I stepped foot on set, I got written out of an episode.
Oh my God.
So and by the way, it was like starvation mode. So I've been through that shit, and I'm very well aware of how grateful I am now.
115
that
pounds?
Nobody cares, yes. And that nobody cares how much I really weigh when I walk onto a set, and I think that those are the things that stifle and silence your gift and your ability to understand your worth or your talent. I guess I've seen some progress, is my point, but I still think we have a ways to go. I still want to see, women in some other spaces.
I mean, can we just mention that they're trying to take away contraception right now? Like,
and I met a man yesterday. I need it.
Like, we're talking about the industry, but what the hell is happening in real life at the moment?
When you're, it's interesting. America's a wild place. And I think it's a wild place because it's the only place on the planet where so many groups of people from all around the world, like if you look at a lot of other countries are homogenous countries, where it doesn't matter if you could be in Uganda or you can be South Korea or it can be Germany. Most places are homogenous countries. And we are not a homogenous country, but we're run by a homogenous government. And so when you have men who have not had a stiff dick since the Clinton administration, it's very interesting what they like to get up to. But just know, a rich man's mistress will never have an unwanted pregnancy, ever. People with money will never have an unwanted anything. It's everyone else that has to suffer through this. So when we look at so it's like when you have a show like Handmaid's Tale, and it's like, oh, this is it. We should dress up. No, bitch, don't dress up. Go vote. What are you talking about? Run for office. Don't put on a costume. Go protest. Write a letter to a senator. Because when we have these panels and because we've been talking about our experiences and you were talking about what you went through, and I saw multiple men in here roll their eyes as if she didn't go through that.
And obviously, I'm not even sharing the really bad shit because we're in this room. And to be honest, there's a lot of shame around. If I share the really bad shit, guess what? Now I'm the girl who's part of a Me Too movement, which I have been, which we are all very well aware. But it is one of those things where if you share your personal experience, now you are the person with the red letter. Now you are the person who we focus on instead of the person who needs to just go away.
It's the same where it's like if something, I said this on Twitter one day, and the reactions were very odd. And I was like, let me get this straight. We have self-defense classes. You've told me various things to put on my keys, mace, tasers, all kinds of things to stop me from being attacked. You sell us all kinds of products, all kinds of things. I shouldn't walk by myself. I can't wear a short skirt. I can't do any of these things to stop us from being assaulted. But when we get assaulted, you don't believe us. But you gave me all these things. So how do we only believe half the story? And only a quarter of this room is clapping, and I refuse to believe. There's too many women in here.
Well, we got a lot
There's
of
too many
male
men in here.
allies,
There's a
too.
lot-
Let us hear it.
There needs to be.
Because we need the men. Honestly, a lot of good guys. And I feel like there's something in the tone of female voices sometimes for people when we get in a high register and we are getting angry that for some reason, because of misogyny, men find it hard to listen to. So we really need the men, all the good men, and there are so many, to fight for us. It's like
Yeah.
Thank you.
Call
And
your
it's
brother.
like, I love you guys, all the good, and it's the same. I think it's the same with racism. We need white people. It's a white people's issue. White people need to fight for, people of color. So the men need to fight for the women.
Yes.
Thank you.
I didn't ask to come here.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said I didn't ask to come here. I'm supposed to be in Africa eating a mango. I'm not supposed to be in San Diego.
Well,
He's not, she's not, they not. We ain't supposed to be here.
we're all really glad you're here.
I'm so fucking glad you're here.
Yeah, we're so glad.
I love you.
Thank you. But yes, we know I've seen plenty of men stop a man from being creepy. And we need those men.
Yeah.
That's
And they're the majority. I mean, and correct your friends. Correct your friends when they're being assholes.
Punch him. Just punch him. Punch him.
Be like, hey, dude, that's not okay. Like,
a man can punch a man. It's fine.
Well,
We are way off track. What the hell are we
I know.
talking about? The industry? What the fuck happened here?
well, getting back to
I literally forgot what we were doing.
I bring you guys
back to no, because it's actually an interesting point that you brought up, because part of the way to do that is through having female creators and having females in the room, on your shows and on your films. What are you doing as far as paying it forward, with your own power, to sort of bring more women into the fold so that everyone has a seat at the table?
One thing I do is I make men uncomfortable. And it's easier than you think it is. I'll tell you the best thing. If you're ever in a situation, especially at work, where a man, especially someone in power, says something inappropriate to you, we have been taught, and whoever you are on the receiving end of this, whether you're a woman, a man, no matter what your identity is, if someone in a position of power says something inappropriate to you, do not laugh awkwardly. Just repeat it back as a question.
Oh,
And that's all you have to do, because they'll try to guise it as a joke. So just repeat it back as a question.
I like that.
And then they'll go, what? And then you say it again. And they go, what? And you go, what? And they're like, oh, I'm an asshole. You're like, yes. And so I have my main way of, I think the best way to pay something forward is, one, there's this phrase that I always heard coming up, and this phrase, it's very popular and when you are a black person, and that is the phrase, don't forget where you come from. But most of the people who are saying to you, don't forget where you come from, aren't people who helped you along the way. They are people that want you to give them an opportunity and try to use your past as a way to guilt you into giving them something that they didn't earn. So my way of not forgetting where I come from is giving opportunity to the comics and the people who supported me when I was coming up, who helped me become a better performer, who become a better comic, And so there's a comic that I'm working with by the name of Shalewa Sharp. Please Google her, look her up. I don't know if you saw the episode of Jimmy Fallon where Chadwick Boseman was on there. And so people were talking about what Black Panther meant to them. And there was the one woman that came on, she had dreadlocks, and she's talking to Chadwick, and Jimmy Fallon pops out, and he expected her to be excited about seeing also Jimmy Fallon. And she goes, "Hey, Jimmy," and then proceeds to keep speaking to Chadwick Boseman. And you just see Jimmy Fallon go, "Well, fuck me then. All right, I don't give a shit." So she is a comic we started together, and she has pushed me so much as a comic that when she started developing a one-woman show called Don't Reach in the Bag about the 6 years she worked in an adult video store, I said, "I'm producing your one-woman show." And so now we're taking the show on the road. We're workshopping the show. We're taking it on the road. We're taking it to Edinburgh. And it was like, this is somebody who, when I had those times where I was getting off of my work, doing bilingual customer service all day and getting off of work and driving 2 hours to Augusta or 2 hours to somewhere to do stand-up, this was the other person in the car. Or this was the person where I'm just like, this shit is hard and I want to quit. This is the person who motivated me. So that's my way of paying it forward. It's you're someone that was there when I was crying in the car. Because that's what I needed. So for me to not look at her and go, "Yes, I got you," would be wrong of me. So that's my way of doing it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I feel like when I started off in the industry, it was a lot of feeling as though there was this big competitive part to it, especially in the auditioning process. You'd walk in, I would psych myself the fuck out in that waiting room. I would hear the girl in the room, I would see this girl, and I'm like, oh, she should definitely get, she's beautiful. That's the girl they're gonna choose. And I'm competitive in everything in life until I get to this job. And in this job, I have a lot of girlfriends and friends that I have made, and I will read a script and I will think, well, I'm gonna totally bomb this audition even though I try it, but I'm gonna send it to these 3 friends because you know what? They would fucking kill it. And I'll send it to them and they're like, why are you sending, aren't you auditioning for this? Why are you sending? And I'm like, because there's enough to go around.
Yes.
Because by the way, if it's meant to be mine, it's gonna be mine. And if it's not, it better fucking be yours because I wanna be there cheerleading you on. End of fucking story. And I think the more that we think from that space where it's not like, oh my God, she's gonna get it, or I'm never gonna, fuck that shit. You know what? If it's gonna be yours, go for it. Try it out. Try to fail, whatever that it might be. But if it's not, it may be for somebody else that you love or believe in. And there's so many talented, worthy, incredible people. And some of them are my friends who are here promoting their shows. And I just beam with pride watching them succeed because I know, A, how hard it was. I know their stories. And I know that there's so many other women. I just met you guys. And hearing your stories, there is a similarity across all of us where we're all fighting and striving. And if we actually sat down and had these conversations, we'd be like, oh my God, yes, yes, yes. So why not lift one another up? Why not remember that there's enough jobs and enough space for us all to come together?
Absolutely.
Well, I think there's only recently been more space for that. When I was a younger actor too, and it used to be very competitive amongst women especially, because there was only one part, one good part.
There was only one girlfriend.
One girlfriend. I did once play girlfriend number 2, so.
Wait, I can do you better. I was hot date.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Black best friend! Black best friend! If you're a white girl going through something, do you know how many movies I would have been your best friend in? And your best friend in? And we would have been best friends to this bitch? I'm telling you.
It's never the other way around for some reason.
No,
It's never
because
a
why
white
would I
woman.
look for you to advise? America wouldn't believe that.
Oh, that's true.
They're not gonna look at my life and I turn to her and be like, so how do you date? No! Nobody in here's gonna believe I go to this bitch for dating advice. Look at her husband. I ain't got no man. You know who's going to who. Only in this particular situation. I pull. Don't play me like that. I'm just saying. When it comes to Hollywood, we play best friends, and you have to know that. When you walk into I walked into an audition one day and saw 10 black women that looked like me, and I was like, fuck it, we can start a choir. You know we can all sing. We know we can all sing. We can all sing. You know that. We don't need this Hollywood shit. We can start just a choir. People love choir. But if you remember what I said earlier, what's meant for you is meant for you. And that's exactly what she just said. And the reason that you were looking at us on a panel is because if you keep that mindset, that's how you can be successful. Because you're not holding on to everything for dear life. You can't get money if your hands are clenched shut. But, like, because Nicole Byer would do the same thing. Like, my first pilot season in LA, we are the same type. And no, I'm not her. She's on a different panel right now in another room. So, but we were confused enough that we just went, fuck it. So during the so we would call did they send you this? Did they send you this? Did they send you this? Because that's how it should be. Because you meet so many actors who, when it's if you have friends that are the same type, it's, well, I don't want to send them that job because if I send them that job, I'm not going to get the job. But what if you don't get the job and your friend doesn't get the job and some bitch you don't know gets somebody's going to get that job. Would you want to go to you or your friend? And if you stay in that mindset, if you can give people, even when you didn't have a job, you were still trying to help somebody. If you stay in that mindset, if you can just help, if you keep your hands open, you're always going to have something to come in them. But if you live in this mindset of scarcity, you're never going to have anything because you're not letting nothing in. So.
I also think a really great thing about, sorry, yes, please clap.
Thank you.
I also think a great thing about, leading a show means that you can say things that I've had to get used to. I feel uncomfortable sometimes with power of being number one on the call sheet, just because I'm from Holland and there's no hierarchy and I don't like any kind of, I think we're all the same. But I do think that there's power that I can use for good, which is, there's this great hashtag on Twitter, for instance, which is show me your writer's room. And I don't know if you guys have seen that, but that writer's room should look like what America looks like, okay? So I think, like, if you have any kind of power, you can use it to make sure that your set looks like what America looks like. People are in different positions. You have enough women. If you look at, okay, this is the director slate for this season. Somehow we have one woman and that woman is black, so we ticked both boxes in one, you know what I mean? Then maybe you need to call the producers and say, let's add a few more women. And I'm very lucky because on Evil, like, our writer's room looks good, which is why I think the show is good, by the way. Thank you. I mean, thanks to them. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that I'm definitely getting here, you all have such strong voices, the four of you. At what point did you find that voice? Was there like a moment, was there a time that you just were sick of it and said, I'm going to advocate for myself? Can you talk about that?
I mean, I feel like for the longest time, I'd be on shows as an actor and feel like to have any sort of power, I had to align myself with, like, the head guy or the director and, like, find a way to suggest an idea so that it would be their idea, and I never felt like, it wasn't even people telling me I couldn't have a voice, it was the thing that I learned, that as a woman, I wouldn't be taken seriously. And I think when I finally found my voice was when I began writing and became the creator of my own stuff, which I never felt I could do. I thought I had to really prove myself, and my very good friend, who is a male director, who started directing when he was 18, said to me once, he's like, well, why don't you just do it? When I was 18, I wrote a script and I directed it and I just did it. And he named all these other guys who just did it. And as a woman, I never felt like I could do that because I had to prove myself to make sure that I would be the best ever when I did it. And so I just think now having a voice as a woman, even like backstage, when you were saying, you speak up and you say shit. And I'm like, I'm Canadian. Yes. I need you around me all the time.
They were bringing us over here and we were just standing there and I was like, what are we doing? Because
I was like, I'm so sorry.
Right, I was like, what's happening? Because what happens is, this is what y'all don't realize about this business. It's a lot of waiting. You're just sitting there waiting for some fucking kid with a walkie-talkie strapped to his ear to tell you to go somewhere.
And wait some more.
Go to makeup, go to set, go to lunch, you can pee. The number of times that I've had to ask a grown adult to pee is unnecessary. It's just, I think, the weird thing about being a black woman in America is that I can say whatever I want to anybody at any time. I have reprimanded people's children, usually when they're about to kill themselves. Get off, stop playing with that escalator, get out of that mall pond. I've done these things. Get out of that fountain. Where is your mother? Things like that. Stop fucking up this panty table. I just fixed it. So, you've been in a Victoria's Secret. You know what a panty table's like. I'll kill that fucking kid. But when I got on set, you don't want to be difficult. Because you already think I'm going to be a problem. You're already wondering I'm going to have an attitude. You're already scared of me. I just walked in the room. I'm a nice fucking lady. I'm a delicate flower. A fine magnolia, thank you. But I've had to spin so long because you can only get followed through a store so many times, starting at the age of 5, 6, 7. You can only be told that you're an issue in your life so many times, starting from when you're little, that when you get on set, you don't want to be the woman who's a problem. You don't want to be the actor who's a problem. But I'm not comfortable. I don't feel safe. But I can't say anything because I worked so hard to get to this point. I've had to prove myself. I've had to go to so many auditions and had to have a day job and do all of this different shit. So I can't say anything because if they think I'm difficult, there's 100 other actors who will take this job. And then there's one day where you look up and go, if I wasn't me, if I wasn't what they were looking for, I would not be at this job. I did everything that I was supposed to do for you to hire me. So you're not doing me a favor by hiring me. I earned this every time. No one does you a favor by hiring you for a job they asked you to fucking apply for. You asked me to come in this room. You asked me to send you a tape. I could have been asleep. So don't act like I owe you something when I get on fucking set. So when you have that moment where you go, I'm here because of who I am and the abilities that I have, that's that moment where you go, I am not going to beg you to go to the fucking bathroom. I'm walking away. I told you I had to pee, and I'm leaving. I told you I don't like how this person talks to me. I told you I don't like how sound puts my microphone on. Why is he touching my titties so much? He's married. Why is this man touching me like this? I don't like that wardrobe won't get the clothes that are my size. And now you've upset me to the point where I'm crying in a makeup chair because I didn't want to be difficult. You get to that moment where you realize that you are the person that you've known you are the entire fucking time. And when you get to that moment, when you realize they didn't do you a favor, I don't owe you shit. Because if I leave this job, you finna spend a whole bunch of time getting somebody to do this job as good as I would have done it if you'd have treated me right.
Can I just give a shout out to, like, by the way, like, for instance, we pay people in this industry who are PAs abso-fucking-lutely nothing.
Nothing!
Okay? Absolutely nothing. The people that you asked, you know, can I go 10-1 is what we say in the industry. Can I go pee?
Right.
And we don't have a word for the other thing, by the way, which is funny.
It's 10-2.
Is it 10-2? Nobody ever says that.
Yes.
No one says it, but if I'm gone for
Because
5...
girls don't poop.
But I want to know what 10-3 is. Do you guys know?
That's when you're menstruating and you need to
Okay.
change your tampon.
I had no idea.
Shout out to 10-3.
But I just think, like, there's something wrong with, like, that we don't pay our PAs properly.
Right.
I think that should change. And I think those people, like, they're there the earliest.
Yes.
They leave the latest.
Yes.
They deserve kindness.
Yeah.
Everyone deserves kindness on that set. We work crazy hours.
I'm the if
I
you're a
feel
working
like-
actor, you're the nicest to the PAs.
Well, I try to be nice to everyone, but, like, I think, like, if you give kindness, you get it back, and sometimes when you don't, then you call it out. But just spread kindness, like, just everywhere. Why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Like, life is short.
Absolutely.
I mean, this
We're
is a
gonna-
prime example of using
Oh, yeah.
your voice and coming forward. And, you know, I think it takes sometimes experience to know that you have a voice. There's still times that my legs are shaking, my heart is pounding, and my anxiety is through the fucking roof. And I still am like, it's important that I speak forward because maybe somebody else will hear me out that the guy putting my microphone on is inappropriate, or that this kind of made me uncomfortable, or no matter what it is, even if I'm trembling and scared, that if I speak out, maybe somebody else will hear and think, well, shit, you know what? I kind of felt the same way. And in the spaces where we don't maybe feel as though we are worthy or we haven't had a voice, even though I'm fucking terrified and I would like to think that I'm confident and have learned all these lessons and had experience, there's still those spaces where I'm scared, and then I sit around women and even men and people who inspire me and who speak forward, and I gain more and more confidence by watching people speak their actual truth. And I encourage people to do it more and more, even if it's scary, even if it's hard, even if you're struggling, speak to it, because I promise you, more than likely, at least one person that's standing beside you is struggling with the same shit. And it's so important, and we can connect that way. And I think that understanding that your voice matters and that you have a mutual shared experience in this world with so many people, even if they don't believe the same things you believe in, look the way you do, or maybe even the same gender, sex, whatever that it might be, but that you're actually speaking to a human experience and feeling is so incredibly important.
If you're trying to figure out how to speak up for yourself, the easiest thing you can do is speak up for somebody else.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's the way. If you're trying to get to how do I help me, the number of times I've seen on set where, like, because when you're on set long enough, you get very protective of hair and makeup and wardrobe, because these are the people that you're with all the time. And the PA who always comes to get you, there's just a person assigned to you. And so your shoot could be 5 days, your shoot could be years. And so there's those moments where you're like, where someone will say something to a PA or say something to hair and makeup, and then they'll say something to you. For me, it was so much easier to go, don't talk to her like that.
Yeah, just no asshole policy, I think,
Right.
should go on every set.
Where it's like,
Or in the world in general, maybe? Like
Right,
fuck
but-
sets, like maybe just in general in the world, no asshole policy? I don't know.
but it's
Totally,
like,
but we
but
don't
that's I think that's where it's like, they have unrealistic expectations. You have to do a whole, you need an hour to flip a look for a shoot. And they'll run in and go, you only have 15 minutes. And they asked hair and makeup, we need an hour. And then they came back and said, you have 15 minutes. And then someone's coming in every 2 minutes and just fucking with this person. And then one day I just turned and went, get out. You heard her say an hour. I need an hour. You're stressing everybody in the room out. Get out. I couldn't say it for me, but I could say it for her. So if you're trying to figure out how to do that for yourself, it's just easier sometimes to just do it for another person, because sometimes the asshole that you're dealing with on set is the director, is the producer, is the white man writing a check. You can't always cuss at that man. In your head, cuss him out. But sometimes you can't, so you have to just figure out how to cope. And you have to find those moments. There's so many times that you've just wanted to you have to figure out how to cope. But if you're wanting to learn how to advocate for you, it's always easier to advocate for somebody else, and then you'll build up your confidence. You'll find your voice in just being an advocate. And then one day you'll just look at somebody and go, get the fuck away from me. And you'll hear yourself say it and go, bitch, I did it. I did it.
So we're running out of time. I think we're gonna have we're gonna do the Q&A part, but before we do that, I wanted to know, because of all this, is there anyone who is inspiring to you right now? Anyone whose work you want to shout out right now that maybe isn't getting the attention that they...
Dulcé Sloan is really inspiring to me.
Stop it, you're gonna make me cry.
I'm so grateful to have been on this panel, to sit next to you and hear all this. So
You're gonna make me cry.
No, for real.
I'm just talk too much. I'm sorry.
No.
Thank you.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize.
She's gonna make me cry.
no, it's true. I don't have Kleenex because I gave my purse away.
Oh no.
I don't have Kleenex because I gave my purse away. Like she said, you'd never give anyone your purse. And I'm like,
Put your purse down. You don't know these people?
Yeah, I know.
My purse is right here.
I'm really inspired by, oh, there you go. That's nice.
Look at Jesus. Hallelujah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sis. Thank you.
I'm not going to name somebody in our industry, but in general, I'm really inspired by climate activists who are trying to save our planet from becoming uninhabitable. We've got 7 years to, prevent the worst from happening, and we need to declare a climate emergency, and there's a lot of people doing really great work there, and they inspire me greatly.
Anyone else before we start the Q&A?
I mean, it's so interesting. I feel the same way. I could sit here and probably rattle off a list of so many different people in my life that I feel inspired by and beyond grateful for. But in the present moment, I've gotten to spend this weekend with the women in my cast, watching our show having grown and believing in something that we called the little space show that could, and knowing that we had this incredible cast of women who support and love and raise each other up. And I go from that energy and celebrating a show that we got to make together, and like, God love the boys, that's wonderful, that are on the show, but like, the women of our show are women who have been there and advocated for each other to get raises. We've shared how much we've made because we felt like we should all be fucking equal. We're
That's
equally
great.
in the show. And yeah, I'm inspired by them because I see like a new, I don't know, revolution in a way of sharing and caring for one another and supporting one another. And then I get to meet perfect, beautiful strangers who sit here and feel and think and speak in the same ways. And I feel inspired to speak, even though trembling. And so thank you, girls, so much.
Thank you.
All right. I'm inspired. Questions? Oh, here we go. All right.
Hello, hi, my name is Will, and just from like Hall H, I think we all support you up there, so just keep up. And my question to Katja Herbers is that from your experiences in working in Westworld and Evil, what did you take from that to help construct your pathway in your career and help rediscover yourself in your own personal life, and how that also has helped you change and go from there? Thank you.
That's a simple question. Well, what I find really amazing about our job is that, like this panel right now, you get to meet people. And so I guess what I take from it are friendships often. People that I've worked with, that I keep in touch with, and that I've learned from. Like, for instance, Ed Harris, working with him on Westworld was an absolute dream. And sometimes I learned from how I've gotten to play some fearless women, which, I mean, they have fear, by the way, but they're layered, and sometimes they're they're fearless. And that is very inspiring to me. On Evil, I have somebody who just takes out men. She doesn't take any bullshit from men. She hits them over the head with a bag of frozen French fries, and takes off her stiletto heel and, slams them in the face, which is just a really, that's obviously a toxic thing to do. Don't do that. But it does. What I love about it is that we don't often get to see women be unlikable on screen, be this layered, where you can still root for a character that is clearly flawed and is making bad choices, but is also, somebody who you can love and root for. So, gosh, I'm just really lucky. And I only came to America later. Ik ben Nederlands, so dit is mijn taal, which means like this is my language. This is all fake. This accent is completely fabricated. So sometimes, thank you. Sometimes I just feel like I'm in some kind of weird journey where I came to America at 31 and now I'm doing this, and this is a blast. Thanks for having me.
Next question.
Thank you for the powerful and strong spoken words. Hello, my name is Nico Holt. It's nice to see you again, Shantel. It's been a while. This question goes out to Shantel VanSanten. In the Flash Season 2, how was your character role, Captain Spivot, similar role to your character For All Mankind on Apple TV?
Okay, so tell me, the question was, how is my role on which one, similar to Karen on For All Mankind?
From
The Flash.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. I don't think either one of them are similar. Playing P. Spiv / Patty Spivot on The Flash was a blast. And I absolutely loved it. Unfortunately had to leave on a train. But there's like this science police officer that, lives out there that's a total nerd, and I loved being able to play with Grant in that role. But getting to play Karen Baldwin on For All Mankind is the role of a lifetime. It was one that I thought that I would start off, thank you. I thought I would start off just playing a fucking housewife, and like that was gonna be that. And the journey that they've taken me on every 10 years, and her reinventing and finding herself and stepping into you know, being a bar owner into being a businesswoman to owning a space hotel to the evolution of her life that I never could have imagined, I mean, is pretty spectacular. So I couldn't compare, but I will say that it's all part of, you know, what I'm very grateful for, to play different characters. You know, I hope that I never play a character that I think is too similar or the same, and that I get to keep making bold, crazy, fun choices. And yeah, stay tuned. Thanks.
Last question.
Hi, ladies. My name is Dominique. Entertainment Weekly, Women That Rock is always one of my favorite panels because I appreciate women. You guys are amazing, and I just want to ask, for someone that struggles with finding her identity as a woman, what can you give me, or what kind of advice can you give someone that's struggling in the audience? By the way, Dulcé, you're amazing.
Thank you.
I've been back here yelling for you this whole entire time.
Thank you, Mama.
I just want to give you a hug. It's right here.
I got you, girl. I put my mask on, everything. I think I constantly have to. Your identity as a woman is, it starts from the place of, are you happy when you look in a mirror? Just for you. It doesn't have to do anything about how anything looks. When you look at yourself, how do you feel? Because everyone has these moments when they look in a mirror and they don't like everything that they see. But I remember I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and Bob the drag queen said, if the only thing you like about yourself is one tooth, then you start with that tooth. And then maybe the next day you can get the other tooth. And then you can work to go, okay, today I like my nose and my eyes and all of this. But before you can identify as anything, you have to like yourself. Mm-hmm. Before it's woman, whatever it is, do you like you? And I realized for a good moment, I didn't love me. You see what I'm saying? And I only loved me because I was told I wasn't supposed to. And I accepted that because of how I looked, because of my size, because of my skin, because of everything. My hair, all of that. I wasn't supposed to like how I look to me. So when men liked how I looked, that's what I lived in. As long as some man thinks I look good, I'm fine. But then that's how you end up dealing with broke men, and who the fuck's trying to keep doing that? I'm on TV. I was on a yacht yesterday. We're done. You see what I'm saying? So finding your identity as a woman, the first thing you have to do is get deprogrammed. Yeah. That's the first thing. No matter how you look, if you're a woman, that's it. So you have to go, I like me. Not because of I have these things that people like. You have to start figuring out, and everybody in here, the number of awful, evil stuff we see people do is because people don't like themselves. So now we have to pay because somebody don't like what they see in the mirror every day. So they make us unhappy. When you're a brown woman, when you're a black woman, they want us to hate that. They want us to look like her. Why? What's she doing I'm not doing? We both bleed monthly. The fuck? What's the campaign? Why? Because you told me a lie. We can look at our history and know what we look like. So when you want to think about the type of woman that you are, you tell people the type of woman that you are. Don't let them tell you. That's what it is. I spend all day telling me I look good. I look fly, I look good. All day I tell me that. You get to hear it, but I spend a lot of time going, I look good today. I don't give a fuck if nobody in here agrees with me. But you have to say, thank you. So when you feel like you look good, I pulled a badass, fine-ass man yesterday, girl. You know why? Because he said I was confident. So when you can be confident, it'll change your life. You stand different. And I know this answer sounds long, but everybody needed to hear it. You feel different. You stand different. You move different.
But I think you're
Absolutely. That's it. We ran out of time. I could talk forever, but thank you all.
Thank you.
So inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you to our
Come
panelists.
here.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for the panel Entertainment Weekly, Bold School, and all our special guest panelists. And our special guest moderator from Entertainment Weekly, Clarissa Cruz.
I hope she needs to. I'm going to go get it. The mic is off.
Yes. Yeah, my microphone's not on.
I know, they turned us off.
Yeah.
Thank you.